Hey there, future electronic equipment inspectors, getting ready for that big interview.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Today we are diving deep into acing those interview questions.
With some insider tips sprinkled in from RoleCatcher's career guide.
It's a field that's really changing rapidly.
Yeah, you're not just dealing with a
Yeah.
faulty radio anymore.
Uh,
It's everything from the smartphone in your pocket
Oh yeah.
to the complex systems running factories.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Okay.
What are some specific advancements or technologies that are changing the game for electronic equipment inspectors?
Ooh, we're talking about the Internet of Things, IoT,
Okay.
where everyday devices are connected to the internet.
Right.
This means more complex systems, more software integration,
Wow.
and a whole new level of troubleshooting.
That's fascinating. So how does someone even begin to prepare for an interview in such a dynamic field?
That's where RoleCatcher comes in.
Okay.
Their AI can analyze job descriptions and help you tailor your resume and interview answers to match what employers are looking for.
It's like having a personalized cheat sheet for your dream job.
Exactly. It's like having a leg up,
Yeah.
especially with automated recruitment systems becoming more common.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into some actual interview questions.
Okay.
One that pops up frequently is, describe your experience with electronic testing equipment.
Right?
It sounds simple enough,
Mm-hmm.
but I bet there's a right and wrong way to approach it.
You're right. The interviewer wants to see if you're familiar with the tools of the trade.
Okay.
Even if you haven't worked professionally as an inspector, think about any relevant experience you have.
So if I build my own computer, that counts.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Talk about the components you worked with. Maybe you used a multimeter to test voltages or a soldering iron to connect components.
Right.
Even mentioning online tutorials you followed shows initiative.
That's a relief.
Right.
Now, another question I see a lot is, what safety precautions do you take when working with electronic equipment?
This is a big one.
Yeah.
They want to see you understand the importance of safety.
Right.
Mention wearing safety goggles to protect your eyes and using an anti-static wrist strap to prevent electrostatic discharge, which can damage sensitive components.
And don't forget proper grounding.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's crucial when dealing with electricity.
Right.
Go beyond the basics.
Okay.
For instance, mention you always refer to manufacturer instructions and follow safety regulations specific to your region.
Oh.
That
Well,
shows you're proactive and responsible.
speaking of being proactive, what about troubleshooting? I bet they'll ask, how do you troubleshoot electronic equipment?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Here they're looking for a systematic approach.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're a detective looking for clues.
I like that. So walk me through your detective process.
Okay, start with a visual inspection.
Okay.
Are there any burn marks, loose connections, or anything obviously damaged?
Okay.
Then check the power source.
Right.
Is it plugged in? Are the batteries good?
It sounds so simple when you break it down like that.
It's all about having a process. Then you can bring in tools like a multimeter. You know those handy devices.
Yeah.
They measure voltage, current, and resistance, helping you pinpoint the source of the problem.
The trusty multimeter.
Yes.
They really are essential tools for any electronics enthusiast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to get a little technical here.
Okay.
Explain how you used a multimeter to test a circuit board or identify a faulty component.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about staying up to date in such a fast-paced field? I imagine interviewers ask, how do you stay updated with the latest electronic equipment and technologies? Quite often.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
This is your chance to showcase your passion.
So what are some good ways to demonstrate that?
Mention reputable sources you follow.
Okay.
Industry magazines, websites, online forums, maybe even specific YouTube channels dedicated to electronics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what about professional organizations? I saw it on RoleCatcher that joining groups like the International Society of Automation, or ISA, can be beneficial. They even suggest the American Society for Non-Destructive Testing, or ASNT, as another option.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
These organizations often offer certifications like the Certified Electronics Technician, CET, or the Certified Quality Technician, CQT.
Those acronyms can be confusing.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, the CET and CQT are certifications that can boost your credentials and show employers you're serious, right?
Exactly. It's like leveling up in a video game.
I like that.
It shows dedication and a commitment to professional development.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about knowing the tech.
Right.
It's about investing in your skills and knowledge.
Precisely. And that's something employers really value.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered some key questions about experience, safety, troubleshooting, and staying updated.
We have.
But what about the actual inspection process? What kind of questions should one expect on that front?
Well, a common one is, what is your experience with quality control and inspection processes?
Okay.
This gets to the heart of the job.
It's not just about fixing things, it's about making sure they were built right in the first place.
Exactly. You're the gatekeeper of quality.
Oh, why?
Talk about your understanding of procedures like visual inspections, functional testing, and the importance of meticulous documentation.
So a keen eye for detail is crucial.
Absolutely. Even a tiny flaw can have major consequences down the line.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Right.
You're ensuring that products meet safety standards and function properly.
Yeah.
You're making a real difference.
That's a great point. It's not just a job.
Right.
It's about contributing to something better.
Exactly.
Speaking of contributing,
Mm-hmm.
RoleCatcher's AI feedback can be a game changer for crafting those perfect interview answers. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can practice your responses, and the AI will analyze your content and delivery, providing personalized feedback to help you refine your answers.
That's incredible. It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
It's an invaluable tool, especially for tricky questions that require you to showcase specific skills or experiences.
So it's not just about giving generic answers.
No.
It's about tailoring your responses to the specific job requirements.
Right, audit. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you do just that.
Wow.
It can even suggest industry-specific keywords to use,
Oh, wow.
increasing your chances of getting noticed.
Wow. That's impressive. It sounds like RoleCatcher is really revolutionizing the job search process.
It is. It takes the guesswork out of things and empowers you to put your best foot forward.
This is all fantastic information.
Yes.
But we're just getting started.
Right.
We still have more interview questions to unpack and even more insights from RoleCatcher's career guide. We were talking about how RoleCatcher can help us tailor our answers for specific job requirements.
And that ties directly into another question you might encounter. What is your experience with electronic assembly and disassembly?
So they're not just looking for inspectors. They want people who can build and take apart electronics too.
Exactly. Think back to projects you've tackled. Maybe you've soldered components, replaced a broken screen on a phone, or even just taken apart and reassembled a gadget to see how it works.
I once built a computer from scratch. Does that count?
Absolutely. That's a perfect example to discuss. You can talk about the different components, the tools you used, and the importance of following instructions carefully.
It makes me realize how much hands-on experience can strengthen your skills as an electronic equipment inspector.
Completely. It gives you a deeper understanding of how things work and helps you spot potential issues more easily.
Now that we're talking about spotting issues, how do you think one should answer the question? How do you ensure the accuracy of your work when inspecting electronic equipment?
This is where you showcase your meticulous side. Imagine you miss a tiny flaw during inspection and it snowballs into a major malfunction later on.
Talk about pressure.
Exactly. So highlight your meticulous approach. Do you double-check measurements, use checklists, maybe even have a system for organizing your workspace to avoid errors?
So being organized is actually a valuable skill in this field.
Absolutely. The more organized you are, the less likely you are to make mistakes. Remember, you're dealing with complex systems, and even a misplaced wire can have significant consequences.
It's amazing how much attention to detail this role demands.
It does. And that attention to detail is what ensures the safety and functionality of the electronics we rely on every day.
That brings us to another question focused on problem solving. Describe a time you had to troubleshoot a complex electronic system. I'm guessing this is where storytelling comes in handy.
It is. But not just any story, a structured and detailed account of how you tackled a real electronics challenge.
So, like, walk them through your thought process, the tools you used, and how you ultimately saved the day.
Precisely. Don't be afraid to get a little technical here. Show off your knowledge of circuitry, components, testing procedures, anything relevant to the story and the job.
This is where all those hours spent tinkering in the garage really pay off.
Exactly. And it shows you can apply your knowledge to real-world situations, which is what employers want to see.
Now for our final interview question today. Let's talk about regulations. I have a feeling interviewers often ask, how do you ensure that electronic equipment meets regulatory and safety standards?
You're right. That's a crucial aspect of the job. You need to be aware of the rules and regulations that govern electronic devices to ensure they're safe for consumers and comply with industry standards.
So how would you recommend someone answer that question effectively?
First, Familiarize yourself with organizations like the FCC, which regulates communications equipment, and OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which sets workplace safety standards.
Right. I remember you mentioned OSHA earlier when we talked about safety precautions.
Exactly. These organizations are essential to the field when you answer the question. Mention specific regulations or standards you're familiar with and how you apply them in your work.
So instead of just saying, I follow all the rules, give concrete examples.
Exactly. For instance, you could say, when inspecting a new device, I always check for proper shielding to minimize electromagnetic interference as required by FCC regulations.
That makes sense. It's about demonstrating your knowledge in action, not just stating the obvious.
Precisely. Show them you understand the why behind the regulations and how your work contributes to a safer and more reliable electronics landscape.
This has been incredibly helpful. We've covered a lot of ground from understanding the evolving role of an electronic equipment inspector to tackling those tricky interview questions. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher.
Of course. We've touched upon their AI feedback tool, but there's so much more to explore.
Exactly. Like what other resources do they offer that can benefit aspiring electronic equipment inspectors?
Well, their career guide is a goldmine of information. It provides insights into industry trends, salary expectations, and even lists relevant certifications like the CET and CQT that can boost your resume.
Right. We briefly touched upon those certifications earlier, but I'm curious to learn more about how they can give job seekers an edge. Well, their career guide is a gold mine of information. It provides insights into industry trends, salary expectations, and even lists relevant certifications like the CET and CQT that can boost your resume.
For starters, they demonstrate a commitment to professional development and a deeper understanding of industry standards.
So it's like a stamp of approval showing employers you're serious about your craft.
Exactly. It's like leveling up your skills and knowledge, which can lead to better job opportunities and higher earning potential.
That's fantastic. It sounds like RoleCatcher is a one-stop shop for anyone serious about a career as an electronic equipment inspector.
Absolutely. Their resources and tools empower you to navigate the job search process with confidence and present yourself as the ideal candidate.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of electronic equipment inspectors. We've explored the evolving nature of the role, tackled common interview questions, and uncovered the power of resources like RoleCatcher in navigating the job search process.
Right.
As we wrap up, I want to thank you, our expert, for sharing your invaluable knowledge and insights with us today.
It was my pleasure. I'm always excited to share my passion for electronics and help aspiring professionals find their place in this rewarding field.
And to our listeners, remember, a career as an electronic equipment inspector is more than just a job. It's an opportunity to combine your technical skills with your passion for problem solving and contribute to the safety and functionality of the devices that power our world. So go out there, embrace the challenge, and never stop exploring the fascinating world of electronics.
Well said. And remember, with the right preparation and resources like those offered by RoleCatcher, you'll be well on your way to landing that dream job.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you found it informative, insightful, and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the topics that ignite your curiosity.